You remember? So I don't know what happened to the recording. Y'all settle down. So U is equal to 5x. dU is equal to 5. A is equal to 3. So 7 out front, bracket, and what is du? 5? 5 over du is 5x times the natural log of what? And what happens to the 5s? They cancel, Hubert. Thank you, class. So our answer is 7 over x times natural log of 3. Now you could say natural log of 3 to the x power. You could do that. I'm not worried about that at that point.
Why would you not raise the 5x by 7? Because isn't that the same thing as 5x to the 7th? So it'd be x to the 6th.
You could, but then you would have to do the chain rule inside the logarithmic rule. You could, you'd get the same answer. You could, okay?
Oh, yeah, you would. Yeah, I've heard about this.
You see what I'm saying? You get log base 3 of 5x bracket 7, and then you would say, okay, u is equal to 5x to the 7th, and du would be what? 7 times what? Times 5x, right, to the what?
35x to 6.
Yeah, well, I'm doing it step by step. To the 6th power, 5x to the 6th, and then what's the derivative of 5x? 5. And then a is equal to what? 4 or 3. And now you plug everything in, and that's going to give you 35. Let's see, it's going to give you 5 over, I'm sorry, it's going to cancel out. It should. So du is 7 times 5. I'm just going to write 7 times 5 times 5x to the 6th over 5x to the 7th times the natural log of 3. I think we're coming up with a 5 short. See, that x cancels. X to the first, and the 5s cancel. Somehow we're leaving.
I think you
I
added
don't know
an
why we're
extra
not getting the same answer.
That's right? 7 over x over 3.
No, we got 7 times 5. We got 7 times 5 right here. So we've got an extra 5 somewhere. It should come out the same.
You added an extra 5 in the du step, I think.
Yeah, because you got to, because this is the chain rule.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
the chain rule. 7 times 5x to the 6th power times 5. Yeah, I did I don't know why we're coming out. I'll have to look at that. I didn't. Maybe that's why you have to do it this way. Maybe I'll have to check that out. I've never tried to do that. Well, I'll check on that. I'll see if I didn't mess it. Maybe I made a careless mistake. I don't think I did. All right, so you got 2 or 3 problems there. Let's move on to the next thing. Next. What if we have y is equal to e to the 4x. Now you could do it several different ways, but back when you had a problem like this, and you need to do this for differential equations, all right? You're going to see this in diff EQ. And you have that over there. The first thing you're going to do is take the natural log of both sides. And then, what does that 4x do? $4x comes out front, Hubert. That's right, class. Natural log of y equals 4x times the natural log of e. Now, these are the questions that I'm going to give you on a test. I've got about 6 of them right here. I don't know how many I got really, but I got about 6 of them. And if you can do these 6 or 7 problems that we're doing, you can handle pretty much your natural logs and your logarithms or whatever. Now, what is the natural log of e? Do it in your calculator. It's 1. Okay? The natural log of e is the same thing as natural log of y is equal to 4x times log of base e of e, and this goes out to what? 1. This is 1, and this is 1. So we've got natural log of y is equal to 4x times 1. Now, implicit differentiate that sentence. Go over to the next side. Natural log of y is equal to 4x. What is the derivative of any natural log of something? du over u, right? So what is the derivative of y? 1 over y. But what do we got to do with y when we take implicit differentiate? Y prime is equal to 4x. Now solve for what? Y prime, Hubert. So I'm going to multiply both sides. I don't like to use red. Multiply both sides by y over 1. And we get y prime is equal to y, or 4xy. So the derivative of e to the 4x is equal to 4xy. Now, remember what I told you about substitution. What is x? What I tell you x was a while ago.
Why is it 4xy?
I'm sorry. $4x is the original. I just saw something. That's the problem. E to the 4x. The 4x comes out front. What was your question? I'm sorry, I cut you off.
When you do implicit differentiation, why is it not
Should be 4. You're right. Should be 4.
Okay.
Thank you. Should have used my notes. Sometimes when I don't use my notes, or use my notes here and there, I mess up. So the derivative of 4x is 4. So that's going to be 4y. Now, there's one other thing we can do here. I've got y prime is equal to 4y. Y is equal to what?
E to the x, 4x.
So take the e to the 4x and plug it back in. And you get y prime is equal to 4e to the what? 4x. Now there's another way you can do this. So I'm going to draw this right here. And I'm going to write y is equal to e to the 4x. Y prime is equal to, what is the derivative of anything e to the x?
E to the x.
E to the x. And then what is the derivative of, what is the derivative of 4x? Using the chain rule. So y prime is equal to 4e to the 4x. Now, of course, anybody with two teeth in their head will say, what? Well, the right side's a whole lot easier. But I want to show you that when in doubt, you can always take the log of both sides when it comes to what? E. When it comes to E, make sure you highlight that. And remember, take the log of both sides. When we get into some more complicated problems, you're going to see what I'm talking about. Okay? So let's do a nerd. And this is the start of those problems where I say are important for the test. So let's do another one. Unless you want me to just do one problem and give y'all the homework. Nobody's going to say anything.
Let's do another one.
Y is equal
I want all the examples I can get.
to the x power. And of course, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to say, oh, that's 1. No. Remember what I told you. If it seems to be too easy, guess what? It's not. So I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to say x is equal to natural log of x. That was back in the properties we said the first day. Go back and look, you'll see it. X is equal to the natural log of x. Now take that natural log of x and plug it in right here. So y, hold on. Y, I'm about ready to quit, is equal to the natural log of x raised to the what? X power. Now, bring the x out in front and take the derivative. Bring the x out to the front, and that's going to be y is equal to, I don't know why this thing is writing so crazy today. That would be x times the natural log of x. Now, what's one way we can do it? We can do the product rule, right? First times the derivative of the second, plus the second times the derivative of the first. So go ahead. Or we can take the natural log, not the log, we can take the derivative all the way across. We can do that. So go ahead and take the derivative. So that's going to be y. What is the derivative of y? 1 times what? Y prime is equal to first times the derivative of the second plus the second times the derivative of the first. And since this comes out to be 1, this is an easy problem. So you come out with y prime. Of course, this is 4y, then it would be different. Okay? You'd have to divide the whole thing by 4 on both sides. But anyway, is equal to, what happens to the x's? They cancel and you're left with 1 plus the natural log of x. Let's take the natural log of both sides. I want to come back to this. Let's do the natural log of both sides. Natural log of both sides, natural log of y, is equal to the natural log of x to the x power. All right, try that one. Bring the x out front. And when you bring the x out front, that's going to give you what we had a while ago. Take the derivative of that. That's going to give you 1 over y times y prime is equal to x, natural log of x, and 1 over y prime, or 1 over y times y prime is equal to first times the derivative of the second plus the second times the derivative of the first. And that's going to give you 1 over y times y prime is equal to, and of course that comes out to be 1 plus the natural log of x, and the y, you're going to multiply by y on both sides, so that's going to give you y prime, I'm going to put that in blue, y prime is equal to y times 1 plus the natural log of x. And then that's going to give you y prime, and you can distribute. I'm not going to distribute it. But. And you could plug the x to the x back in if you wanted to. And you could get, and you could do that with the other also. Y prime is equal to, and I'm going to plug in x to the x right here. And that's going to give you x to the x plus, sorry, let me change, yeah, that's fine. X to the x plus x to the x, natural log of x. Again, the natural log of both sides is the easier way, okay? Now let's throw a trig function in there. And again, the trig function is not going to do anything much different. Y is equal to x sine of x. And I want you to take the log of both sides. Y is equal to x to the sine of x. All right, go to it. Take the natural log of both sides. So take the natural log of both sides. Natural log of y is equal to natural log x sine of x. Natural log of y is equal to the sine of x times the natural log of x. And now you've got basically product rule there. This is going to always give you 1 over y times y prime is equal to, what's the first times the derivative of the second plus the second times the derivative of the first. All right, finish it out. So that's going to give you, you can write it however you want to, but I'm just going to go 1 over y times y prime is equal to sine of x over x plus natural log of x cosine of x. So there's really not much you can do there. And then multiply through by y. But when you multiply through by y, what are you actually multiplying through by? X sine of x. So you can put an x sine of x right here, and that's going to be your answer. So your final answer is going to be x to the sine of x times sine of x over x plus natural log of x times cosine of x. That's a good one. That one's short and sweet. I like that one. And plus, you have your trig in there, and you have the natural log in there, and you have implicit differentiation. So I like that one. I'll just give you 10 of those for the test. How about that? No comment. No, I'm just kidding. Somebody would miss it. Somebody would miss it. Somebody would not make 100. How much you want to bet? Y is equal to 5 minus 4x to the 1 over x power. Now, why can't you just do the chain rule here? Because of the 1 over x. Now, you could make that an x to the negative 1, but you still got a problem. So take the log of both sides. That's what I was saying to you before. Yes, you could do some of these by both ways, but you'll find out that some of these it'd be easier just to take the log of both sides. Because basically you're turning the chain rule on the right-hand side into the what? The product rule. That's why you take the log of both sides. So natural log of y is equal to 1 over x times what? I'm sorry, I skipped a step. I do that sometimes. That's why I write notes down. I skip steps. Natural log of 5 minus 4x, and y'all talk so much that it gets my concentration off. I mean, it's just like the worst class I've ever had before. As far as interaction, just like y'all were dead. Still no comment. Y'all just hate me? Is that what it is? I can tell some of y'all have never had a real terrible calculus teacher. No, Hubert, we haven't. Yes, Hubert, we have. Mr. Swords won't even talk to me anymore.
I will.
Thanks, 15 minutes later. Natural log of y is equal to 1 over x times what? Times the natural log of 5 minus 4x. You see how it turns a potential chain rule into the product rule? Because yes, you could do, let's see, that would be 1 over x times 5 minus 4x to the 1 over x minus x over x times the derivative of what's inside, which would be negative 4. Oh yeah, that's much easier. So that's going to be negative 4 over x times 5 minus 4x to the 1 minus x over x. And that's not really going to help you very much, but that's what, you know, if you did it by the chain rule. And it's just not feasible to do that. It's easier just to make the chain rule into a product rule. And now we're going to get natural log. We're going to take the derivative of both sides. That's going to give us 1 over y times y prime is equal to, first, times the derivative of the second. Well, that's going to be negative 4 over 5 minus 4x plus the second times the derivative of the first. 1 over x. The derivative of 1 over x, so that's going to be x to the negative 1. So that's going to be negative x to the negative 2, right? Somebody do the derivative of the first for me. Negative x to the negative 2. Thank you for confirming it. Is anybody there? Does anybody confirm it? Is it negative x to the negative 2? Thank you. I appreciate it. Good God, people. What's the matter with y'all?
Hungover.
Hungover?
Tuesday.
Good God.
Tuesday.
If you're hitting it at Monday and Tuesday, y'all do something. Good God.
I mean, we have you for a teacher, so can you blame us?
Oh yeah, because I'd bring liquor every day to school.
And you spilled on the floor.
So you can tell my department heads.
Spilled on the floor at that.
Yeah, that's it. I spilled it all over myself.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that. I should have said that. Equals, let's see, negative 4 over x times 5 minus 4x plus natural log of 5 minus 4x over x squared, negative x squared. You put the negative out front here. So we'll just take that negative and put that negative out front. right here. Now you could get a common denominator. I don't know if I did or not. Let me see if I did. No. Now, there you got to solve for y. So, or y prime. So that means you're going to multiply the whole thing by what? Y. But what is y? All that. So multiply the whole thing by 5 minus x, 4x, to the 1 over x power. Now, if you really wanted to get messy, we could actually distribute that, and we could just have a whole page and a half of getting the common denominator and then canceling, if y'all want to do that. Huh? Wait till you get to count 3.
Oh, I can't wait.
Huh?
I said I can't wait.
So you could distribute that, and then you'd have a 1 over x here, and then you'd have 1 plus 1, 1 over 1, or x over x, that'd be x plus 1. And you remember when I had the x plus 1s in the problem a while ago? You'll start to see stuff cancel out. And you'll come out with an easier problem. But anyway, there it is. So this is your derivative. All right, let's do a narrative. All right, this one you probably just go ahead and quit. Not even try. Because it's complicated. Y is equal to x squared times the sine of x. Now you could do it both ways. I want you to do it both ways. I want you to do it by the product rule, and then I want you to do it by taking the log of both sides. And then, of course, you'll probably quit halfway through. I don't understand why y'all so mean to me. Miss Gusmus tells everybody at Pendleton campus not to talk to me.
I didn't say that.
What?
I didn't say that.
I know. Of course, all the people that are Skyping in from home, they're not even listening. They're in the kitchen making themselves a sandwich. Or watching Family Guy on TV.
I'm
I've
listening.
been doing
I'm
this
at
the
work.
whole time.
I'm just picking, Miss Castles. You're the one that's actually watching. I appreciate it.
I'm listening too.
Who was that?
This is Shiloh.
Okay, the little light didn't go off. Thank you, Miss Iabi. Miss Iabi, you've been minimized on Skype, so I can't. I wonder if I pull
That's
this
fine.
up, if that'll make it bigger. I can't.
Whoa.
Oh, he's doing that thing again. Mr. Brock, we don't need to hear the chipmunk.
Mic controls.
Mr. Brock has a chipmunk function on him. He makes prank phone calls sounding like chipmunks, like Bart Simpson. You ever seen the episode where the Griffins go to Springfield? Okay, I'll show you.
Yes, I was just watching that one the other day.
Y prime is equal to first times the derivative of the second plus the second second times the derivative of the first. Derivative of the first, second sign. I'm sorry, I got my cart before my horse. And that's pretty much the answer. Okay, so y prime is equal to x squared cosine of x plus 2x sine of x. So now I want you to do it by using the log of both sides. And the reason I want you to is not because I want you to do the extra work. I want you to be able to take the log of both sides and be able to solve both ways. So I'm going to go up here and take the log of both sides. And then that's where some of you are just going to sit there and stare at it. Log of y is equal to the log of x squared times sine of x. Now, what can we use from the logarithms to rewrite the right side?
The natural log of x squared. What's the natural log?
And what's that called? Starts with a P.
I don't know the name of the property.
Oh, God. You're such a loser. Product rule of logarithms. The product rule of logarithms say that if you multiply a single logarithm, you can break it up into two logarithms being what? Added, Hubert. Thank you, class. Now finish it. Now these gummy worms, I soak them in vodka before I come to class.
Nice.
Yeah. I would bring my fruit that I've soaked in vodka. Watermelon, I put a fifth of vodka in it.
You ever do that? It's really good.
I know.
Actually, just kind of serious.
Actually, there's margaritas that you can make made with the meat of the watermelon.
Yeah.
It's real good. What's the derivative of the sine?
Cosine.
What? Not the cosine, but the what? I'm sorry, positive cosine, I'm sorry. Over. All right, finish it. So I'm going to multiply both sides by y. And what is y? Y is equal to x squared times the sine of x, Hubert. That's right, class. So I'm going to take x squared times the sine of x and multiply it by 2 over x plus cosine of x over sine of x. And you can do that if you want to. I don't know how far the test or the homework will want it, but we'll go ahead and play with it a little bit. Y prime is equal to x squared sine of x times 2 over x, right? Plus x squared sine of x cosine of x over sine of x. Make sure I didn't mess that up. And the x, that's going to cancel here. And the sine is going to cancel. And we're going to get y prime is equal to 2x sine of x. Sorry, Mr. Swords is not helping me any getting my training down.
I know, I'm
Equals,
worthless.
that's all right, I'm used to it. 2x sine of x plus x squared cosine of x. Y'all check, is that what we got when we did the first times derivative of the second plus second times derivative of the first?
Yeah, that's what we got.
Again, do I want you to do it because I want you to work hard and do 15 lines versus 3 lines? No. You are trying to learn how to manipulate functions. That's what you're doing. Calc 1, Calc 2, Calc 3, deiv. That's what you're, well, no. Half of Calc 1 and the rest of Calc 2, Calc 3, and deiv. You're manipulating, tearing apart, rewriting. Let's do another. That's why people that take 15 statistics course don't build bridges. Or septic tank pumps. I'm sorry, sewer pumps. Y is equal to x to the third times the square root of 5 minus 9x. Do it both ways. Now this is a good one to work on for practice because this has got everything in it. If you do this one both ways, if you can do this one both ways without a problem, then you've got 3.9 down pat. But you got to be able to do it both ways. You know, I think I did it wrong. I don't know how to do it. I'm a Southern Baptist. I'm not a Catholic. Got to do it both ways. I would ask how it goes, but nobody would tell me, so.
It's up, down, left, right.
Up, down, left, right, like that.
Yep.
I saw Joe Biden do it the other day, and that's why I was wondering. Didn't know if he did it pass backwards or not. Joe Biden, gonna save us all. He's been in Washington how many years? 40 plus years, and he's gonna change everything. And Bernie's gonna give us all free stuff. And I've got some swampland in Arizona, I'll sell you.
Is it adjacent to my oceanfront property?
Yeah. What gets me is all these people are going out and promising the world, and all they're doing is feeding on the ignorance of the American people. That's what they're doing. And people ain't got sense enough to realize that. What does the con artist thrive off of? Idiots. And that's what they're doing. No, we're going to give y'all free this and free that, and we're going to give you this, and we're going to raise that minimum wage, bump $15 an hour. We're going to give you $20 an hour. We'll give you free home.
Well, it works, so they keep doing it.
Say again?
I said the tactic is working, so they keep doing it.
Yeah. You're right. Miss Iabi, that is right. The reason they keep doing it is because we keep doing it. We keep going to the polls, can't tell you what the person's name is that we're voting for, and we vote for them. Sickening. That's why I love Candace Owens. She tells it like it is.
Yes, she does.
She don't call us uninformed. She calls us stupid. And that's what we are. So, y prime. Now, you talking about a feared woman. That woman is feared. They fear that woman. Because she is their worst nightmare. You thought Condoleezza Rice was a nightmare? Candace Owens is the left's worst nightmare. First, some of y'all got, who's he talking about? Well, you need to look her up. Oh my gosh. I told y'all to listen to somebody, but I didn't tell you. I didn't tell you how you listen. You make up your own mind. I just told you to listen to her. Yes, Hubert's trying to tell us who to vote for. He said the first thing about voting. 5 minus 9x to the what? 1/2 power. Now, we can use the product rule and cause a big cluster, but, you know, like I said, if you can do both ways, you'll be doing good. So let's do it. Y prime is equal to, first, times the derivative of the second, plus the second times the derivative of the first. Y'all check me. I should just copy it from my notes. I don't know why I don't do that. X to the third, 1/2, 5 minus 9x to the negative 1/2, negative 9, plus 5 minus 9, 1/2, 3x squared. Now, let's go ahead and yank stuff out. I'm going to yank this out and bring it out here. And let's just put it right here. Negative 9. And at 3x squared. So I got, bring this downstairs with that 2. So it looks like I get y prime is equal to negative 9x to the third over 5 minus 9x to the 1/2 power. Y'all check me on that. Plus 3x squared over 5 minus 9x to the negative 1/2 power. And the only reason I would bring that down is to get a common what? Common denominator. The common denominator is always your highest exponent. What's your highest exponent? 1/2 or negative 1/2?
You forgot the 2 left side of the plus sign.
Where? Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. What's the common denominator? It'd be 2 times 5 minus 9x to the 1/2, wouldn't it? So you could rewrite this as 5 minus 9x to the 1/2 power. Make that the common denominator. And then, of course, this would be negative 9x to the third. And then over here, how many times will 5 minus 9x to the negative 1/2 power go into this? Y'all aren't going to tell me, are you? Well, what do I need to add to this to make it 1/2? 2 halves, right? Yes, Hubert. Plus 3x squared times 5 minus 9x to the what? To the 2 halves or to the first power, right? Yes, Hubert.
Yes.
Yep.
And it looks like it might help us because that negative, we're going to get negative 9x cubed plus 15x squared minus 27x to the third over that denominator. And then what's negative 9 minus 27? Negative 36, help me out, plus 15x squared over 2, 5 minus 9x to the 1/2. I'm looking at that 2, but that 15 messes that 2 up. So let's go ahead and call that it. Yes, you could factor out x squared, but it's not going to help you. You could factor out 9, but that's not going to help you. So
It's 427.
I'm in a 3. Factor out a 3, but that's not going to help you. Say again?
It's 427.
What'd she say?
It's 428.
428 now.
The time.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Well, work on this. Take the natural log of both sides and see what you get. We've got 1, 2. I've got three or four more problems to go over, and there's some good ones. So we're going to take tomorrow and finish these 3 problems because it'll probably take the whole class to do those 3 problems. I want you to finish this one taking the log of both sides. I will work on some homework to put up tonight, okay? I gave y'all the day off yesterday, so, let some of this sink in. But I'm going to go ahead and put some problems up tonight for 3.9, okay?
All right.
Yes, okay, thank you, class.